But why do we hate ourselves? Because we were told in the Bible that we were cursed. Haven't you heard that? The curse of Ham? That we were cursed as the sons of Ham. And yet, cursed in the Bible, Noah, who was a drunkard, cursed Canaan. He didn't curse, he cursed one son of black people, but not all. Because Noah was also a black person, according to the Bible.
Hello fam, this is your boy Golden Boy, and I'm really grateful that you clicked on this video. I'll be taking you through this video. And yes, when the missionary came to Africa, they had the Bible and we had the land. So they said, let us pray. We closed our eyes, and the moment we opened our eyes, the missionaries had the land and we had the Bible. And that's why Dr. Kihura Nkuba, an African historian, reveals why the Bible was all about the black people. And he explains why the melanin makes black race superior. So I want us to dive into this video, and I'll just be talking to it bit by bit at the end of it. Thank you for watching this video. Let's dive in.
Become an important man or an important woman. But for a start, I want to excite you in this word called melanin. Melanin. Who knows this word? Who of you knows melanin? M-E-L-L-A-N-I-N. Melanin. Anybody? Huh? Okay, you haven't. Yes, she knows because she works for the Virus Institute. And you know, because you're a teacher. But what about you? You haven't started learning, particularly if you're a black person, unless you know what melanin is. Melanin is a carbon that does not deteriorate over time. Melanin is your black skin pigmentation. Or in plants, it is equivalent to chlorophyll. But it is the most powerful thing that you can have. In terms of people, we gauge your importance on the amount of melanin you have. So we say the darker the better. The darker the better. Melanin is produced by an enzyme. You know an enzyme? Called melatonin. 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 So, you need melatonin to make melanin. But for melatonin to make melanin, it needs a catalyst enzyme that we call tyrosine 7. So you have tyrosine 7 to work with melatonin to produce melanin. If you have internet and you look for melatonin, you will find there are over 100,000 products made out of melatonin, basically made out of black skin. So, melatonin, melanin, and tyrosine 7. If you have no tyrosine 7, you can't have black skin. You can't. And in biology, if you have no black skin, they say you are depigmented, demelanized, or you are an albino. Yeah? You understand that? Yes. Yeah, Sebo, you know you have lights in the car. Yeah, just in case. So, if you have no black skin, you are an albino. In biology, white people are called albinos. And the word white comes from the Latin word albinus, which means white. So in biology, you have somebody who is depigmented, which means he has no pigment. Demelanized, who has no melanin. And if you are depigmented or no melanin, it means you are an albino. If you have melanin, it means you are a black person. That's in biology. Now, this melanin is responsible for a lot of things, and I want you to write them down. I hope you have where to write, students, huh? Do you have where to write? No. Who said no? How can you be a student and not know where to write? You came for what? For dinner? Huh? Hey, Sebo, this is not a wedding. You came for a lecture, and an important one. Number one, it protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun. and the energy from the earth. So when the sun hits your body, certain rays are allowed in, certain rays are filtered out. It stops you getting skin cancer. Then it protects you against the energy from the earth, which means if you are standing, it anchors you. Like in electricity, you have earthing. Yeah? When something is earthed, it's not hit by lightning. You know that. So, if you are standing here with a white person and lightning struck, it would pick a white person, throw him there, you would remain standing tall, blessed of the sun, because of your melanin. So, number one, protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun. Number two, protects you against the energy from the earth. It anchors you. Number three, melanin is responsible for healing. When you cut yourself, if you cut yourself, you see blood, you see something red, they may be white. And when it starts healing, a dark skin comes and covers it, or a dark patch comes and covers it. That dark patch is melanin. Melanin sends reinforcement around the area that is affected and brings about healing. So melanin is also responsible for healing. Melanin is responsible for a sleeping cycle, how you sleep. If you don't have melanin, you don't sleep properly. You have what they call insomnia. Melanin controls fatigue. So you are not tired most of the time. So other people who don't have melanin, they have fatigue. If they travel in a plane, they get what they call jet lag. Then melanin is also responsible for something else, what we call a corresponding cosmic connection. It links you to the universe. You begin feeling something. You feel energy pulses. There is a lot of energy that is here that you don't see. Energy you don't see, but you can harness it. For example, if somebody calls you on phone, you don't see the sound traveling in the air, but it comes to your phone. So there is a ultraviolet, ultra high frequency signal that comes to your telephone. Are you with me? So, for example, one way you can test a corresponding cosmic connection is when a black person hears a music pulse, a sound pulse, an energy sound. So if I say na 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 na, oh Africa, Africa, na 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 na, oh Africa, straight away you feel the rhythm. Even before you hear it pulsate through your veins. If it was a white person, they wouldn't feel the rhythm. And if they started dancing, they would be jumping up like this, and then they would do this, and they would not move in tandem with the rhythm because they don't have melanin. They do not have that corresponding cosmic connection. The corresponding cosmic connection also means that you could be seated here and something happens to you, and your mother at home will see a leaf fall from a tree, and you will say, there's something wrong with my son. Or you could be going somewhere and you see a rat cross the road. You say, this is not a good thing. So that nature works with you, not against you, to warn you, you are at harmony with nature. So that's another thing that melanin does. Protects you against the ultraviolet rays of the sun, the energy from the earth. Melanin controls healing. Melanin controls fatigue. Melanin gives you a corresponding cosmic connection. But melanin also does something else. Melanin gives you dominant genes. Dominant genes. Now, you know the science of genetics. Yeah? You know genetics, genes. That science started around 1822 with a gentleman called Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel. Gregor Mendel was an Austrian from Austria, and he was a Catholic priest from the Augustine monks. He was an Augustine monk. Augustine lived around the 2nd, 3rd, 4th century, no, 4th century AD, and he was the black person who lived in North Africa in a place called Hippolytus, who wrote the laws of the Catholic Church. Because most of you think that, white people brought religion and they, and they taught you how to read and write. That's all not true. That's what we call his story, the white man's side of the story. It's not our story. It's not true. So I am just telling you that a great Augustine of Hippo was this bishop who wrote the laws of the Catholic Church. Now, the followers of Augustine are called Augustinian monks. And one of the Augustinian monks was Gregory Mendel, who lived in Austria around 1822. And in Austria, he was looking at genes, because at that time, white people were wondering where humanity started. Who were the first people to populate the world? And they thought that white people were the first people to populate the world. And at the time, Christianity was very heavy in Europe. It's not the same now. If you go in a church in England, you will probably find about 2 or 3 people, the priest and his assistant and maybe one other person, unless it's Christmas. So they were first looking in Europe. Then they couldn't find, the oldest they could go was 40,000 years. Then they went to Asia, the oldest they could go was 900,000 years. And then they came to Africa. And the oldest they could go in Africa was about 1.5 million years. So Mendel wanted to find out, using genes, inherited characteristics. Because when a man meets a woman, in Africa we say you have a spiritual congress. European people say you have sex. In Africa we don't have sex. We don't even have a word for it. We call it a spiritual congress. But when a man meets a woman, they exchange first genes. And the first genes they exchange is called nuclear DNA. And you share, almost equal sequence that sit on your chromosome. So you have a certain equal percentage from the male and the female. But there is a certain gene that the mother passes on to the child without going through the filtration process. That is called mitochondria DNA. Mitochondria DNA. Sometimes it's written like this. Mitochondria DNA. That one the mother passes to the child without going through filtration process. The father doesn't contribute to that DNA. So if we want to find out who is your father, we will just look at your mitochondria DNA. But the inherited characteristics pass through from the nuclear DNA. So Mendel was looking at these characteristics, and he was looking at plants to see what does a father plant give to a child plant. What does a mother plant give to a child plant? And then he went to animals. And Mendel concluded that if you began with white people, you would you'd never have got black people. Because white people have what they call recessive genes. Do you study that? You study recessive genes? You also study dominant genes. You study that? Now, if you study recessive genes and dominant genes, you know that a recessive can never produce a what? A recessive can never produce a dominant. But a dominant can do what? Very good, very good. Some of your fees, went for a good cause. Huh? If you know recessive genes, you can never stay away from that. Recessive genes. No 2 white cats can produce a black cat. No 2 white goats can produce a black goat. No 2 white cows can produce a black cow. No 2 white chickens can produce a white chicken. And no 2 albinos, no 2 white people can produce a black person. Why? Because black is dominant and white is recessive. Which means what? It means you produced white people. If you had begun with white people, if Adam and Eve had been a white person, you would not be here. But why do we hate ourselves? Because we were told in the Bible that we were cursed. Haven't you heard that? The curse of Ham? That we were cursed as the sons of Ham. And yet, cursed in the Bible, Noah, who was a drunkard, cursed Canaan. He didn't curse, he cursed one son of black people, but not all. Because Noah was also a black person, according to the Bible. You understand that? Do you understand that as scientists? So, if you're a scientist, you look for science. Yeah? And you know what science is? Science is a phenomenon that is provable, number one. Number two, it is subject to experimentation. Number three, if that experimentation is carried out in the same environment, you will achieve the same results. So science is not belief. Belief is the absence of fact. Belief is the absence of fact. I don't say I believe black people were the first people to populate the world. No. I know black people were the first people to populate the world because I can prove it. Do you understand that? You not only need to understand, but also overstand. Because maybe if you understand, you remain under. You need to come up, yeah? And overstand. So, here we go. Gregory Mendel is the father of genetics. If you study genetics, you are studying the science of Gregory Mendel. And that science of Gregory Mendel is about recessive genes and dominant genes. It's about genes. It is about what produces what. If you have a child with a white person, God forbid, and the child is born here, at birth the child will have less white genes and more black genes. As the sun hits this child, the body will begin to produce more melanin, and the child will begin to darken down. The nose will become wider, taking more hot air. You know, the eyes will adjust, and the hair will become good, just like these sisters. This is known in biology as phenotype adaptation. Phenotype, you know, the core and response of the environment. You react to the environment. But for you to react to the environment, you must have melanin. Because if you don't have melanin, you can get cancer. So that is the phenotype adaptation. It means that you, who has melanin is the most incredible, most powerful thing that you can have. You have no idea what melanin is, what being black means, what having black skin is. White people today, that's why I said go and look for this, melatonin. You will find thousands and thousands of products made out of melatonin. White people inject their lips to have fresh lips, like a black woman's or a black man's. Because white people have no lips. Their lips are almost like this. You know that. Those of you have seen white people. You know? They are cut short. There wasn't enough material. But for you, being the first person, you utilize all the material to make yourself into a full person. Yeah? White people are injecting their breasts to have full breasts like a black woman. Because most of white people don't have. They have like flat chest. You sometimes see, is it a man? And now they wear trousers. You say, hey, a man or a woman? And because of plastic, they also have beards. So you don't know whether you're really dealing with a man. But quite significantly, white women are injecting their behind with melatonin so that they can have what they call steatopedia, the unusual accumulation of fat on the black woman's behind. You know? Whereas white women have what we call ironing board backside, you know, completely flat. There is nothing there. Yeah? So there is nothing more beautiful than being a black person. Nothing more powerful than being a black person. There is nothing more beautiful. Listen to me. White people, you know, most of the time, as black people, we hate ourselves. And unless we deal with that hatred among us black people, we cannot achieve anything. You can't become a scientist, you can't become a historian, you can't become successful, you can become only successful to a limit where everybody is trying to put you down. And, you know, hopefully we'll come, you know, and cover this. So, we hate ourselves. And even in everyday language, if I want to cheat you, I blackmail you. If I want to put you on a bad list, I'll blacklist you. In a what book? In a black book. Haven't you heard that? That will put you in a black book. Teachers used to have black books. Do they still have them? Yeah? Change their name, call them white books or, danger books. Now, if it is a bad spot on the road, it is called a what spot on the road? A black spot. If it is a bad trading day, it is called a black day. If it is in a legal market, it is called a what market? A black market. Which means if there are black people in the market, then the market is illegal. You are not supposed to trade. As long as you see black people, it's illegal. So we wear black for funerals. And when we wear mosquito nets for weddings, what color are they? Hey, you have not seen the wedding dresses. What do you think they make them out of? Mosquito net, except there are many of them piled together. So stay away from them when you get married. Don't go and get a mosquito net and then they have a long one so that when it's walking, it keeps cleaning the street. I don't know why they do such a thing. So when you wear white for weddings and you wear what color for funerals? Black. Now, in your homes, the pictures of God that you have is what color? Be honest. Tell the truth and shame the white man. What color are the pictures on the wall in your homes? White. And what color then is the devil? So if I kill all of you, I have fought the devil, won't I? Is that not, doesn't it make sense? If I am a Christian, and they say onward Christian soldiers, if I am a soldier of Christ, my job is to fight the devil. What does the devil look like? Isn't it black? When you go in a military college, the sabao, when you are learning how to shoot, the target practice is what kind of head? It's a black head. So it is no wonder that black people hate themselves. Because every time you see God, you are not thinking of your sister or your mother or your uncle. You are not thinking of Kihura Nkuba as looking like God. No. You are thinking that somebody else, not you, looks like God and you look like the devil. And most of the time, if I look like the devil, I am told I'm a devil, then I act like a devil. I don't want to disappoint people. People thinking that, I'm a wonderful person. Let me try to live up to the part. That's what psychology says. But I'm here to tell you today, number one, that when God created the world, there were no white people at all. There were no Chinese. There were no Indians. There were no Italians, no Romans, no Germans, no Poles, no Finns, no Swedes, no Goths, no Vandals, no Visigoths, no Vikings. There were only black people. Only black people. They were probably at the time darker than you. So, if you read any sacred text and it says that you are created in the image of God and in the likeness of God, it means God is what color? Black. And anytime anybody gives you a God who doesn't look like you give him that God back. You say, you know what? Yeah, your God looks okay, but just take him. Because at the dawn of time, there were no other people on earth but us. None. And the most interesting story is that story unfolded around this river that passes through your district.
Yes, as you have heard from Nkuba, you'll find that there are some of the black people who have known that the Bible is somehow distorted, or there are some of the verses that were removed from the Bible. Like, there are a lot of people who are saying that the Bible had 80 chapters, but others are saying it had 72. And the current one, we have 66. So you'll find that this is something that a lot of Africans are not even aware of. And yes, as you can see that they have always stick the white Jesus in their walls. In every household, you'll find that they have stick the white Jesus. by the time you try to confront these people are blindfolded. And in Africa, you'll find that the white people are currently fighting for African resources. Yet, we as Africans, we are currently fighting on who is going to get in heaven first. So you'll find that a lot, the Bible was somehow scam, not somehow not scam. But the thing here is that the white society are really scrambling for the African resources, and yet the African himself are really struggling to get in heaven. So as you have heard from this our preacher, you'll find that there are some of the verses that I sorted out, and I wanted to read for you some of them so that you can understand what is really happening in heaven. And there, we as black people, we need to open our eyes, because in Africa, you'll find that the government really respect the churches, and these churches are coming out with some of the bad ideas, which even in an open eye, you'll find that this is something that is really not happening. Like, you'll find that a lot of churches are currently distorted and have been at business centers. So that's how you'll find that we need to open our eyes day and day, that Bible was somehow a scam, was not somehow a scam. But the only thing that I have come to realize that there are some of the verses which were taken away from us and from the Bible, like eight chapters were removed from the Bible, and we're currently having 66. So that is something that I also have. And another thing that I have here is that during in the recent time, there was an ancient gift which was given from blood, that is Putin. And the moment you open that, you will find that he revealed that Jesus was a black person. And people are saying that Jesus was a white. So this is something that was very mysterious. And the black people have always been blindfolded, especially to the African society, and they don't know what is really happening in the current world. And in the current world, you'll find that the Africans are really fighting spiritually, and the white people are also fighting spiritually. So we as Africans, the only thing that we need to do is to come together. So these are the verses that I come to look at, and I want to read for you here that what was Moses looking at during the bush. This is something that I'm coming out with later. And the Lord said unto Moses, I will do this thing also, thou hasn't spoken, for thou hasn't found grace in my sight. And I know thee my name. And he said, beseech thee, shew me my glory. And he said, I will make all my goodness pass before thee, and I will proclaim the name of the Lord before thee, and will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will shew mercy on whom I will shew mercy. And he said, thou canst not see my face, and for there shall no man see me and live. And the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me, and thou shalt stand upon a rock, and it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover thee with my hand. So this is something that Moses said in the Bible. And we shall have mercy on whom I will show mercy. And he said, thou canst not see my face. That's something that I repeated. And it shall come to pass, while my glory passeth by, that I will put thee in a cleft of the rock, and will cover thee with my hand while I pass by. And I will take away mine hand, and thou shalt see my back parts, but my face shall not be seen. So this was from Exodus 33:17, verse 23. So this is something that I'm trying to give you an encouragement, that Moses never saw the face of the Lord. I don't know if he saw the face of the Lord, because there are some places that they are saying that he saw the face of the Lord, and that's why he grew very old. So that was not the main context. The main context here is that it is all about the black community, that during those times of missionaries, the missionary came to Africa, and they handed us with the Bible. And this Bible was to give us, you remember that the people who came were the colonizers and the missionaries. So these colonizers were harassing us. Yet, They were trying to preach for us on what to do, on what virtues we need to follow. And that's what Africa have always kept up for a long, long time. But if you are an African who is an open-minded, you'll find that somehow some of the verses were taken. If you dig deep into your history, and that's why I brought this video for you, so that you can understand what is really happening in the outside world. And in the outside world, you'll find that the black society has always been depressed in the society, and has always been a minority in a society. And yes, the only thing that we need to do is to come together and we join one another, so that we can defeat the enemy. And you know the enemy, you all know the enemy. So I'm going to leave you with a verse from Matthew chapter 13 verse 24, and it says that another parable put the forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven is likened unto a man which sowed good seed in his field. But while men slept, his enemy came and sowed tares among the wheat, and went his way. But when the blade was sprung up and brought forth fruit, then appeared the tares also. So the servant of the household came and said unto him, Sir, didn't not thou sow good seed in my field? From whence then hath it takest? So Matthew 13 verse 37 also said, He answered and said unto them, He that soweth the good seed is the Son of a Man. Then the field is the world, the good seed are the children of kingdom. Yes, this is something that is here. So the servant of the household came and said unto him, Sir, didn't not sow the good seed into the field? From whence then are it tares? Then he answered this way, that and said unto them, He hadn't sowed the good seed is the Son of Man. The field is the world. The good seed are the children of kingdom, but the tares are the children of the wicked one. So the enemy that sowed them is the devil. The harvest is the end of the world, and the reapers are the angels. So Europeans, Caucasians, mountains, needles, and troubles journey came lately. Like I say that, even long time, that person has said that, long time before the world was created, there are no white people. That's something that you also have to learn, that there are no white people. And these are some people who came later on. Yes. So, in short, I'm trying to say that the black people have always been there, and that's why they have always tried to eradicate black people, so that they can conquer the world. And yes, I'm only going to leave with that verse from Matthew chapter 13, verse 24 to 37. And that's what I had for you here in this video. I hope you will subscribe to this channel, and see you in another episode. Thank you.